I want to inspire you for the topic of fasting. Fasting has changed my life, and I want to invite you to discover this topic. When I first started fasting, I fasted for half a day or a day, and I felt like I had to die. And it wasn't in my faith standard that I believed that I could fast longer. But then one evening, God actually spoke to me, and I felt him say, now fast for 12 days and only drink water. And I actually survived. So I fasted 1 day, I fasted 2 days, and then I started researching and looking, wow, what is God saying and what has God in mind behind all of the fasting topic? And I experienced that he has a whole, there's so much treasure in this topic. So I want to invite you to dig in there, and I want to take you on this journey. So there are 3 different kinds of fasting. There's the complete fast, so that's no water, no meal, no nothing, but only do this for max of 3 days because then it's really unhealthy. Then there's the normal fast. That's no food and only water. So it's also called the water fast. This is not just a zero diet, it's actually a spiritual diet. So you only take water, and that's actually what we find in the Bible a lot. And that's also the thing that I want to talk right now about most, about the water fast. And then there's also the partial fasting. So partial fasting is like fasting with juices, Daniel fasting and abstaining from different things, social media or chocolate or whatever. So that's more like abstaining. You find all of these different things in the Bible, but what's really special about the water fast is that you delete all the things that trigger something in your life. So water is the one thing in the Bible that actually stands for cleansing. So in the water fast, something is cleansed and something happens in your body. In fasting, it's the thing that we always have a standard of something, and it's always in spiritual topics. We have standards that we experience in our surroundings. But actually, I think God wants to take us in a faith standard shift. So not just think in 1 day, but put a 0 to it, about 10 days. Or let's not think in fasting about 3 days, but what about 30 days? Let's put this in our possibility, and that actually shifts so much. Just put a 0 to it, and everything changes. In the Bible, things went differently. So when we look at the church today and our Christian life today and what has been in the Bible, we have a big difference between that. And it's not that something is wrong with the Bible, there's actually something wrong with us. And when we see that there's something missing in our lives today, then it's not something wrong in the Bible, that we have to look at what was the key in the Bible that we are missing today. And fasting is one of these big things. So if you want the life of the faith heroes, pay the price of the faith heroes. And we look at the Bible, and all the big men and women of God, they were all fasting. Look in the church history. All revivals were always prayer and fasting. So we have to think about fasting in a different way. So I have this one point for us, and it says that fasting is a forgotten foundation. So in Matthew 6, we read about, prayer is important for us, right? There's the Lord's Prayer, and we all say, okay, praying is very important, and giving is very important. And there's actually this 3 things, and it says, when you pray, da-da-da-da. When you give, da-da-da-da. When you fast, da-da-da-da. And so Jesus actually puts a standard there and says, okay, these 3 things, when they sound the same way, they are actually with the same weight. So we look at prayer and we look at giving, but we forget fasting. And Jesus actually puts that fasting is a forgotten foundation. He actually says in Matthew 9 that when he is gone, when he's back in heaven, then my disciples, then they will fast. So Jesus isn't saying if they fast, he says when they fast. So he's not putting it, okay, if someday maybe, well, it might, but hey, my disciples, they will fast. So let's see that fasting belongs to my Christian faith. It's a foundation of my faith. In Matthew 9, verse 15, it says, Jesus answered, "How can the guests of the bridegroom mourn while he is with them? The time will come when the bridegroom will be taken from them, then they will fast." So fasting isn't just an obligation. Fasting isn't a religious rule. Fasting isn't a tradition. Fasting is lovesickness. So fasting is, okay, they will mourn for the bridegroom. So fasting means we are so hungry, we are so lovesick for the bridegroom to come back. The bride of Jesus mourns for him. Jesus, we are so hungry for you. And that's why we fast. So fasting is lovesickness. It is something that my body is doing that my spirit is meaning. So Jesus says, my desire, my disciples, is that you are hungry for me. So when we are fasting, we are hungry for Jesus. And you know, when it's not about Jesus, it's not Christianity. So our fasting is always about Jesus. Fasting feeds my spiritual hunger. And it's the way to keep in my life the hunger for more. So in the next session, I will take you deeper in the meaning of fasting and what really happens to you.